From the Dignity Health Studios of the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with real people and real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
Welcome to Open Up. I'm Tina Miller.
And I'm Don Clark, your favorite pair on the air.
Yes, indeed. And we're opening up all around the world, not just here locally in Bakersfield, but thanks to Bakersfield and the community and our live studio audience. Welcome, everyone.
Tina, you look marvelous today.
Don, this is just a cute little jacket. I wanted to feel kind of comforted and warm today.
Yeah. It's I hope you're having a beautiful day. We're having a bright, sunny, crisp morning here in the great Central Valley of California, and I hope it's even more beautiful wherever you are.
Yes. Don, thanks to our dear friends at Nature's Food Market and Juice Bar, we're drinking our favorite again. Well, everything is our favorite, but the Alibaba. So delicious, so green, and so good for you.
I drank it before we came on the air. I just couldn't wait, so I didn't hold back.
You finished yours
Yeah,
already?
I'm all done. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. And so they are in their new location, which is 2000 H Street, the old Henley's building. So
Right across from the Fox Theater.
yes, indeed. So please stop in and get you something good for your health.
Well, this is our Thanksgiving edition.
Yes.
We'll be off with our families next week. I hope all of you are with yours.
Yes.
Thanksgiving and the holidays can be a very sad time for people. If you've lost a loved one, it can be a sad time, and we're going to deal with that at the end of this show. In fact, Tina is going to deal with it in a very personal way.
Very personal.
And we've got. We're going to be talking about a lot of things here today, and one of them is I think there's almost a Thanksgiving miracle going on in Bakersfield, and it has just so many different groups coming together to provide holiday meals for literally thousands of people, and it's the preparation of the meals, doing it all together. You're going to really like this. But the first thing we want to talk about is men and faith. Many men think church, religion, faith, that's something you leave to your wife, your mother, the kids. It's okay for them to go off to Sunday school, but for men, Sunday morning is a better time for golfing, but there is something going on in this city that I wanted to bring to your attention, and that is that there's a movement that men by the hundreds are stepping forward to assume spiritual leadership in their homes, in their businesses, and kind of a guy, I would say, fairly at the sort of epicenter of all of this is a fellow by the name of Les Piercy, and Les is with us now. Les has a great father. Tell the world about the business that you grew up in, and with your dad, and just a bit of your family and your background, Les.
Well, my father made a great decision when he was 17 years old. He drew a line in the sand because his parents and my mom's parents didn't follow Christ at all. And so he made a decision to draw that line in the sand, and he moved from Texas to California. And he brought this plaque, and the plaque's still on my father's wall. It says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord."
Yes.
And he raised us in that home, 4 boys, and so a wonderful dad, wonderful mom, and I'd probably take more after my mom than my dad. And what I would say is they were incredible parents. My father had a business that I got the joy of working with him called Piercy's Rentals, and I did that for 37 years. And since have turned it over to my son and gave it to him as God has called me into full-time service.
What type of rentals?
Furniture rentals.
Oh, furniture rentals.
Yeah, all
okay.
kinds.
Okay. Oh, really?
You can read big screen televisions and just about appliances and just about everything. So coming really from a business background, Les. And I don't know many guys that will openly say they're a mama's boy. I mean, it takes a real man to say I'm a mama's boy.
Did I say that?
Yeah,
I said I was a mama's boy?
Well, you said
man.
take after your mother.
mom. Yeah. Well, is that in looks or behavior, conduct?
No, behavior, 100%.
Oh, okay.
Although my mom had a lot of great qualities, I think her greatest quality is it didn't matter what her son Les did. If I got an F on a test, I'd come home and she'd say, "Well, your handwriting looked really nice." So she always found something good to say.
That's good.
Tell us about, I know you've got a background in athletics, a bit about that.
I was fortunate that God gifted me with talent to play sports. When I was growing up, I was 6'1" as a 12-year-old, so I was quite tall. So I dominated in athletics early simply because of my size. But I went on to play college baseball at the University of Arizona. And from there, I played with the U.S. Olympic team. I played with Athletes in Action overseas, and then went on to play 5 years professionally with the Minnesota Twins and the California Angels.
Wow, wow. So you've moved in that world of athletic men, guys, the guy world.
Professionally.
And what kind of drew you into the kind of bringing men to a different level of commitment as far as faith is concerned?
I think it started early. I took a trip with, I'm going to say, Athletes in Action. We spent 3 months in South America. I played baseball down there, as well as in the fifth inning, we'd stop and we'd share our stories about how God had radically changed our lives. And I saw great athletes not being afraid of sharing their story. So Romans 1:16, where he says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. And I saw guys that I looked up to. I saw my college coach, Jerry Kendall, who played in the World Series, who was excited as could be. It was the coolest thing to be a Christian, and I saw that from him lived out. So I've always felt that that's what I want to be. I want to be a guy who oozes Jesus and that there's a smile on my face every day, regardless of what's happened, because God has a plan for today. I just don't know it.
You know, I've been so impressed, Les, as I watch college football and sometimes even pro football, that how many athletes, they score a touchdown, catch a pass, and that's finger pointed on high. It seems like there's a lot of guys that are living out their faith on the athletic field.
I think that's really true, but we got to be careful. A lot of them are pointing to heaven because their fathers passed away and they're doing it for dad.
Oh.
So we can't always say they're pointing to Jesus or God with thanks. But I see it on the PGA Golf Tour. I have lots of friends on the PGA Golf Tour that God has transformed their lives through a program called College Golf Fellowship. They give their life to Christ in college, and then they go on to the tour, the PGA Tour. And 2 years ago, 7 tournaments in a row, Christians won the tournament. And I just see God, for some reason, allowing them a platform to give credit to God, not to themselves. So it's become the standard because a lot of Christians are there and they need help with the struggle of the professional world because it's difficult.
Let's talk more about men of faith or men and faith.
Men in faith. What I can say is what's happening here in Bakersfield. I have the joy of going to the Bridge Bible Church. I've been there since it opened 11 years ago, and there was no men's program going on there whatsoever. It was the daughter church of Laurel Glen Bible Church here in Bakersfield, great church, and 60 of us families left Laurel Glen and started the Bridge Bible Church. I was one of those. And when we went there was nothing for men. And we went on a retreat. There was 8 of us, and we decided we're going to tackle men. What are we going to do for men? So I volunteered. I said, I'll take the men. And so we started. And what we've seen here happen in Bakersfield is friends of mine across the country will say they've never seen anything like this. And it's men basically chasing after Jesus. And what I'm told is men chase after men who are chasing after Christ. And so I hate to say this word, but it's almost like it's a cool thing to be as a Christian, a man who follows Christ and has faith. And what I've seen is men's lives transformed and come home, and then in transforming their lives, their wife's life is transformed, and then on to their kids. And why? It's because each one of these men are deciding to spend daily time with Jesus, and they get in the proximity of Christ. And in doing that, your life changes. It does nothing but change.
It's interesting. You're saying not that spending time in the Bible or spending time, at Bible study or church or Sunday school, but spending time with Jesus. Expand on that.
Well, lots of times people in my day, men would go to church with their wife because she wanted them to go. And they were basically splinter Christians. They'd sit in the back row and just get splinters in their butt. And they would go just to check it off their list. It was performance-based. I go, okay, I did it. And they go home. They didn't want to be there. And so today what I'm seeing is men are leading that, and they're taking their wives to church and their family. And statistics show that if you lead a child to Christ, 3% of the family will come to know Christ. If you lead a woman to Christ, 17% of that family will come to know Jesus. But if you lead a man to Christ, 94% of that family will come to Jesus, because the man he happens to be the spiritual leader of that home and or the leader of the home. And as he goes, the rest of the family goes. And so it's time to take action for all of us men.
Yes.
Let's get busy.
Yes. Les, I'd like to ask you, because we have a short time left. A member of our studio audience, I won't name them, but had a situation where he was given a task and in charge, have several people under him to attend an event and usher. And so all of a sudden, 10 are dropped out for some unknown reason. They are not available. And how do you speak to that? Give him some encouraging thoughts.
I constantly will go through anything in life, and I try to do it my way. And I have a plan.
Okay.
And it might be those 10 guys are going to help me. But God may have a different plan.
Okay.
He may want to stretch me to grow me and take me through a struggle so that I may look him straighter in the eye, let's say. Romans 5:3 is clear. It talks about that we're going to go through suffering, and through suffering we gain endurance, and through endurance we gain character, and through character we gain hope. And so every situation we go through, Scripture's filled with it.
Yes.
Of why Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh. Okay, number of things. Why Paul on his road to Damascus was blinded.
Yes.
Okay, change of plans. Because
Yes.
God has a different plan than we have.
Yes. Excellent.
How much time do we have?
Chris? Okay.
I just want to say, Les, I think what you're doing offers the greatest hope for America that we can possibly have. We could elect another president. We could put another party in power. We could do all of this stuff. But I think as men, one by one, come to the kind of commitment you've described here in the transformation of their families, their homes, their children, I think that's where the hope of America lies, in that kind of renewal of heart and commitment to Jesus Christ.
Excellent.
Well, I would say this in closing, that we can oftentimes say that where one or two men are making this decision. But here in Bakersfield, I get the awesome opportunity of working with 250 men on a Tuesday night that are coming to be discipled in God's Word, and 250 men on Friday morning at 6 a.m. at the bridge. And these men, there's almost a line to get in. Wow. And the other guests you're going to have on your show today will testify to that. And I'm just privileged. I just thank God that I get to be in this spot, and He's called me here.
And at any given time, you're taking like 800,000 guys up into the woods for camping excursions.
It's pretty crazy because most of the time in a church, the women will go on a women's retreat, and they'll be, if you get 150 women to go, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, normally the men's retreat would be about 30 guys. It's usually about 1/10 of what the women take. Well, that's not true. Where we're at, we saw 800 men go away for our men's retreat.
Wow.
And I've never heard of that anywhere else. The largest churches in America don't have 800 men go away for a retreat.
Well,
Neither have I.
Les, let's just hope your interview here is like an incendiary fire that just begins to spread across the world. So
Yes.
thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing. And God bless what you're doing, and Godspeed.
Well, thank you. With God, anything can happen.
You bet. All right. And we're going to talk about one of these men that has been part of this movement, that has started something that is just like a Thanksgiving miracle in bringing this city together to meet the needs of people out there. We'll be right back.